It's Tuesday, October 24th, 2017. I'm your host, Sarah Beal. Thank you for joining us. We have a great show in store for you today. On today's show, we will talk with Airport Manager Bud Brielt. He gives us an update on the end of the recent major construction projects at the airport. Then we'll check in with Town Architect Mark Marinaccio. He lets us know about the work being done down in West Barnstable at Lombard Field. And finally, with 2 elections coming up, we get election information from Town Clerk Ann Quirk. But first, let's get a look at today's top headlines. A reminder that today is the Cape Cod Regional Technical High School vote. Voting will be in all precincts today and will go from 12 noon until 8 p.m. tonight. Massachusetts Secretary of Housing and Economic Development Jay Ash was in Barnstable on Friday to announce a $3.7 million 2017 MassWorks Infrastructure Program grant and recognize the Hyannis Regional Commercial Center Traffic and Pedestrian Improvements Project in the town of Barnstable.
We're willing to partner and looking forward to partnering with you on growth. So on behalf of Governor Baker and Lieutenant Governor Polito, I'm happy to announce a rather large award. This is one of the larger awards that we're making in this round. We're announcing an award of $3.7 million from MassWorks to the town of Barnstable for the Hyannis Regional Commercial Center Traffic and Pedestrian Improvement Project. Tried to get that on a t-shirt, but it just didn't fit. But nonetheless, the project, as you know, will make critical upgrades to 2 existing intersections, extend public utilities, improve pedestrian access in your major commercial center. This will help residents and tourists alike better access a number of new private developments that are going on in the area, including a $12 million total athletics of Cape Cod Sports Complex. We see that there are 350 new or permanent housing units and 3 high-density developments that will bring new residents to the area, and that the development will benefit greatly from the improved access along that stretch of commercial activity. Project's also consistent with your regional planning efforts. I mentioned the Cape Cod Commission. Anyway, I thank again the Cape Cod Commission, and this leverages a $334,000 commitment from the Cape Cod Commission. I hope you all know that while we travel around the entire Commonwealth, we very much care about what's happening here. We travel around an awful lot. What we see down here in the Cape is things that we want to help engage and deliver for all of you. And Lieutenant Governor, the Governor and I are committed to working with your legislative delegation to direct every resource we can to help improve your economic development, I should say your economic prospects here, and deliver on important projects that will bring good jobs, will create new housing opportunities, and improve infrastructure for everybody. So on behalf of the Governor, Lieutenant Governor, I think I share this on behalf of all the legislature. We're thrilled to be able to bring a $3.7 million grant to you.
Town Manager Mark Els remarked on the ways this grant will help revitalize the Independence Park area of Hyannis.
Look at the intersections and the roadway improvement and the sewer expansion and some of the water work that will be done and the sidewalks that will be installed and other vehicle related and traffic related improvements in the area. All of these partners that we have are impacted. Independence Park and the Gray Star group who are developing a housing project out there. When you put all that together, we satisfy the eligibility requirements, both in looking at seeing jobs and business investment and seeing housing in this project. So putting that together with the need, we were seen as eligible and we were able to move forward.
The project recognizes the town's private sector partners, including Independence Park, Cape Cod Healthcare, and Total Athletics of Cape Cod, who are bringing new investment and new jobs into our community. Els also thanked the efforts of Planning and Development Director Elizabeth Jenkins and DPW Director Dan Santos and their staff. A reminder from the Barnstable Elderly and Disabled Taxation Aid Committee that the deadline for submitting an application to qualify for an annual award from the Barnstable Elderly and Disabled Taxation Aid Committee is November 30th. The funds are collected are distributed to needy individuals through an annual award process. To be considered for this annual award, potential recipients need to meet eligibility requirements and complete and submit the application form. New applications must be submitted each year. Applications are available online at townofbarnstable.us/treasury or by contacting the Treasurer's Office at 508-862-4653. Copies of the application package will also be available at the Senior Center. The Recreation Division is teaming up with the American Red Cross to offer a one-day first aid, CPR, and AED certification course. The course will take place on Saturday, November 11th from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. The certificate received for completing the course will be good for 2 years. The cost is $75 for residents and $150 for non-residents. Space is limited, so sign up now by going online to the HYCC website, or you can do so right at the HYCC. Up next is my chat with Airport Manager Bud Brialt. Bud, thank you so much for joining us today. We're going to do a little bit of an airport update. Airport Commission met last week. So one of the items on the agenda was talking about a letter for the Massachusetts Air and Space Museum. What can you tell me about what this is all about?
Well, we were approached by the leadership, if you will, of the Massachusetts Air and Space Museum, looking for a possible place where they could build, I call it a world-class museum to aviation for the state of Massachusetts, the Commonwealth. And they were trying to put it up at Hanscom Field in Bedford, but apparently the space that they had intended to use up there is now no longer available. So they came down and talked to us, and we've made a couple of suggestions which they are exploring. And so what they needed from the airport was a letter of intent that we would indeed work with them to help them locate a space either at the airport or on property owned or leased by the airport. So along those lines, that's what the letter was for, was to induce them to come here. And eventually they would start probably with a 20,000 square feet museum, and then they have enough artifacts and equipment to put on display that they could easily go up to 100,000 square feet at some point in time.
Wow.
So you're talking a big museum, which should be a big draw, and it would also be a teaching, learning museum where they would be working with schools and things like that to try to educate kids about aviation, and hopefully maybe even use that as an impetus to bring in aviation schools or get the kids to go to pilot training or airframe mechanic schools and things like that, because there's a dire need for pilots and mechanics in the aviation industry.
Mm-hmm. What do you know? What the reason why they were interested in coming to the Barnstable or the Cape in general?
I don't know the exact reason, but I think we've always expressed an interest in being working with them on this. We'd talked to them a couple of times in the past that if things didn't work out for them at Hanscom, then hey, how about considering Hyannis?
That's wonderful.
There is a lot of tourism here, obviously. Millions of people come through the Cape every year. There's a lot of museums here. So I think that it kind of fits in a way. And, of course, this airport has been here since 1928, almost back to the dawn of aviation in the state of Massachusetts. And we've had a lot of historic figures here that have been either in or out or have been through here, like Amelia Earhart, President Bush. All kinds of people have been through here or trained here or flown in and out of here, certainly the Kennedys and things like that. So I think there's a lot of aviation history in Hyannis and at this airport. So it kind of fits a little bit.
Wonderful. So I look forward to you giving us, an update as this moves forward, where we go after the letter process. So,
well, right now, my understanding is that the board of directors for the Massachusetts Air and Space Museum has agreed that they will make their next effort will be here. So we're hoping that we can now parlay this into an actual physical site.
Wonderful.
So that'd be awesome, and we'll keep you advised.
Okay, great. The next thing we want to talk about is you guys finished construction on the 2 runways that you've been working on for quite some time now, and you had your FAA inspection. So let's talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, this past Tuesday we had a final inspection for the reconstruction of runway 1533 and for the painting and modifications that we did also on runway 624. And that was successfully done. FAA has approved it. The Massachusetts Department of Transportation Aeronautics Division has also approved it, the work that we've done. And so it was a great job. It has been a lot of work. It's been a lot of disruption, which people have seen, I'm sure, with all the trucks on the road and all the piles of dirt everywhere.
Yep.
And we actually started construction back in March, and we just finished. And right now we're just doing punch list items to, fix the small things that need to be corrected. at the end, which you have at the end of any major construction project. So this was about a $10 million project for the reconstruction, and it was a success. The only thing we have left to do is runway 624, and we will have practically rebuilt the entire airport.
Wow.
And then we also had a final inspection on a slurry seal, which is a seal coat that we put over our ramp. So we sealed 300,000 square feet of ramp space in front of the terminal and the tower, and that also was approved.
Wow, that's great. Do you have a like a timeline or plan for runway 624?
Right now, it's about 2 to 3 years away, and it's going to depend on money and certainly the condition of the pavement. So, in fact, we have our capital meeting with the FAA next month to go over all of our future projects, and that's one of them.
Okay, great. Well, sounds wonderful. I'm so glad that the project went well. It's finished, and everything can sort of go back to normal at the airport.
Yeah, we're almost back to normal.
Great. Thank you, Bud, so much for joining us today. I really appreciate it, and I hope you have a great afternoon.
You too, Sarah. Thanks so much.
Bye.
Bye.
My guest today was Airport Manager Bud Brialt. Now let's find out about the construction work taking place in West Barnstable with Town Architect Mark Marinaccio. Mark, thank you so much for joining us today. We're going to talk about the construction work that's going on right now out at Lombard Field in West Barnstable. There's a lot going on out there, so let's talk a little bit about what exactly the plans are out there.
Okay, well, we are currently working on a project that was designed over the past year and a half, and we're doing parking lot improvements, improving the ball field, relocating Luke's Love playground, and creating some handicapped accessibility spaces and handicapped accessibility into the West Barnstable Community Building.
This is a very big project because it's you're moving Luke's Love. They're going to be moving a little bit toward behind the old Selectmen's building, correct?
Yeah.
And then the ball field is having some. Is it being made bigger, or is it just being updated?
It's going to be a regulation softball field size. We're tweaking the orientation a little bit to make it better. You mentioned Luke's Love playground. That was probably one of the more difficult parts of the project because it's not only a playground, but it's also a memorial. And so there's a lot of sensitivity that went into making sure that was relocated correctly and in a safer, better location.
It's a wonderful playground. I know a lot of families use it. It's great because it's available to anybody. It's handicap accessible. There's things for kids in wheelchairs, accessibility. So I understand that the importance of being sensitive to what they want, what they need, and I think it's going to be great because it'll be easier to get to because you're redoing the parking lot, which is a huge. I know that parking lot has been issues for years. In the spring, it gets muddy. So that's a huge part of it. So the parking lot's going to extend down to now where Luke's Love will be.
Yes, and improve parking down at the old Selectmen's building as well.
Great. So when I was looking at the plans, I noticed there's a stone dust walking track around the field. Is there any reason for that, or is it just kind of?
Well, that creates a buffer between the fence and the outside grass area, but also will allow people, when the ball field's not being used, to use that as a walking path around the
I thought that was really neat.
Project.
A nice place where people can go and walk. Because I know there's a lot of walking trails in West Barnstable, but if you have some mobility issues, they might be a little difficult to traverse. So if you have a nice, even walking path that goes around the area of the ball field, I think that'll be a wonderful thing for all the residents in that area that want to get out and walk, but maybe not on a conservation path that they could trip on, trees and branches and things like that.
Yeah, you have the housing facility next door, and the parking lot. The sidewalk is very busy on Lombard Avenue, and as part of the project, we're taking that sidewalk and bringing it into the site for a period of time, and then moving it out back to the street along West Barnstable, along Lombard Avenue.
Yeah. And I also noticed we mentioned before we started talking that you're going to be moving the entrance into the whole entire complex.
Yeah, right now the entrance comes in at the West Barnstable Community Building, and it's very narrow. So, and what that has always done to the site is it brings you in down at the end of the site, and you've always kind of had a dead-end parking down near the old Selectmen's building. So this slides it towards more sort of the center of the site and allows you to enter the center of the site and lessens that dead-end condition there.
That's wonderful. I think this whole project is going to be so great. Another part of it is ADA compliance into the West Barnstable Community Building. So I know that's a big thing that people have been looking for.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's important to make sure that everybody is able to access all these places, because I know you put a new ramp into the West Barnstable Community Building, right?
Well, Structures and Grounds recently renovated that ramp, but there really hasn't been good parking for that ramp. So this project creates some handicap parking spaces next to the West Barnstable Community Building, and then creates an accessible path to that ramp.
Excellent. It kind of joins the two projects together.
Yes.
And makes the whole area ADA compliant, which is very important.
Yes.
Great. Is there anything else about the project you want to let our viewers know about?
Other than, early on we looked at the project, and there was a lot of design work that went into the project at early stages, because we didn't want to just pave square parking areas. So this creates more of a park-like feel. I think that's an important part of the project.
Yeah. Keep that, West Barnstable feel to it.
Yep.
Yeah, that people love so much. Thank you so much for coming in and
Well,
joining
thank
us.
you
I
very much.
appreciate it. My guest today is Mark Marinaccio, who's the town architect in the Department of Public Works. Finally, let's get an election update from Town Clerk Ann Quirk. Ann, thank you so much for joining us today. We have 2 elections coming up, so we want to make sure the residents in the town of Barnstable are fully aware of what's going on. So first up is the vote on October 24th, so let's talk about that.
Okay, so that one is for Cape Cod Regional Technical High School. They want to build a new building, which they desperately need, and the cost to us is listed right in the actual question on the ballot, and that's all that ballot is for, is are we going to support them for a school or are we not? And that vote is for 12 towns. So Barnstable is just one of 12 other communities that are going to be voting on the same day, and it is a cumulative number. So all of us will be posting our results that evening, and as they put it all together down at Cape Cod Regional Technical High School, they'll know if they're going to get the building or not. Okay. And that vote doesn't start until noontime. It's different from our normal elections.
Yeah, no early birds that day.
No early birds. Starts at noon and it ends at 8, and you have to fit it into that time, or come into our office before Monday at noontime so that you can actually have an absentee ballot.
Monday.
The
day before?
Yes, the
day
23rd? Before, the 23rd.
Okay. So if you want to do an absentee ballot, because you can't get there on Tuesday the 24th from 12 to 8, you can come to the clerk's office here at Town Hall and do an absentee ballot, but only until noon on the 23rd. You can come in before that, obviously,
yes.
But noon the 23rd is the last time that you can come in and do an absentee ballot.
Absolutely, and we actually lock the door at that point and close everything down so that we can make sure we have everything all set to go to the polls the next day.
Yep.
So we close at noon for about an hour so that we can go over everything that we need to have and make sure everything is set to go the next day to each of the locations.
Yeah, and everyone will vote in their normal polling location.
Absolutely.
You'll just be voting between 12 p.m. and 8 p.m.
Yes, that's the biggest change right there.
There'll probably still be a few people who show up early to vote, but trying to let people know between 12 and 8 on the 24th, those are the voting hours. Everyone in the 12 towns is voting at the same time, between
Correct.
12 p.m. and 8 p.m.
Correct, and that's how it has to go.
Yep, everyone has to do it the same exact way.
Correct.
Okay, so the next election after that is the town election. That's on November 7th.
Yes.
Yes, so let's talk about that one.
Tuesday, November 7th is our election day. As you know, every other year we have a town election. And this year on the ballot are school committee members, housing authority members, and in all the this is in the odd-numbered districts or odd-numbered precincts, myself as well. And we will have 2 questions on that ballot. In the even-numbered precincts, you're also going to have to vote for your town council.
Yep.
So in some of the cases, there is a definite contest going on, and you need to go out and cast your ballot for that person that you want to represent you in your precinct.
Yes.
But everyone is going to have school committee, housing authority, and myself on there. And then also, you're going to have 2 questions. they're on the ballot. And we have Will Crocker to thank for getting one of them on the ballot for us, because he actually supported the charter question going through the House and Senate and finally to the desk of the governor to sign off on it. So it has made it on our ballot for this year. And so there are 2 questions, and one is a non-binding question. It has to do with Pilgrim Nuclear Power Plant, and it's a very technical thing. And I
look it up, do some research on it.
It's actually up on the website.
Perfect.
So everybody can see it. That the 2 questions and throughout the town votes are up there. Individually, to put up every other precinct, so to put up a ballot for precincts 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and 12, it would get so cumbersome that we just wrote a list of everyone that's running, all the different candidates. So that kind of makes it easier for people.
So you can just go on the website, go under the town clerk,
under
election information, and you can find all of the information you need, the questions, who's running, all that stuff. And like you said, it's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and 12 have town councilors that are, you're going to have to vote for either a new town councilor or existing, or, you know, some are running against somebody, some are running unopposed. So,
and one, Fred Chirigotis from Precinct 4 has
termed out.
So there are 2 new people running, so you really need to come out and cast your ballot.
Let's see.
Oh,
so those, okay, go ahead.
Before I forget, sorry.
No, it's fine.
Before I forget, 20 days before any election, we have a close of voting registration. So the close of voting registration has already happened for the October 24th vote, but we're in that right now, in that same cycle for the November 7th vote. So the last day anyone can register to vote in the town of Barnstable, or change their address, or whatever they want to do in the town of Barnstable, is the 18th of October. And we will be open until 8 p.m. to take care of voter registration. But that's it. That's the end.
So if you don't get yourself updated by October 18th, 8 p.m. here at Town Hall in the clerk's office, whatever is already on there is where you're voting, or maybe you won't be voting because you're not registered to vote. So if you're 18 and you haven't registered to vote yet, this is a good time to come in and get yourself up on the rolls, so you can participate in the democratic process, as they say.
Absolutely. It's a privilege and a right. So please exercise that.
Yes, it's very important. So just to recap, we have the vote on October 24th for the Cape Tech School. That will be from noon to 8. And then the second vote we have is on November 7th. It's a regular town election. Polls will be open 7:30 to...
They actually open 7 a.m.
Oh, they open at 7 a.m.
to 8 p.m.
7 a.m. to 8 p.m. And that's in every precinct. Every precinct is voting on November 7th. So no matter what precinct you live in, whether you have a councilor running or not, you do have a ballot.
You do.
So make sure you get out and vote.
Excellent, because it is important. Those 2 questions are on there. We really need you to have your input, and your vote is your voice. So please come out and vote, because we don't know how you feel about things if you don't.
Exactly. Thank you so much, Anne, for coming in and getting all of our viewers informed about the upcoming elections. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. My guest today is Town Clerk Ann Quirk. A final reminder that today is the Cape Cod Regional Technical High School vote, taking place from 12 noon to 8 p.m. tonight in all precincts. Now let's take a look at our community calendar. Today, let's find out what's happening at the Barnstable Senior Center this week. The Dessert and Music Series continues this week. On Wednesday the 25th at 2 p.m., the Victrola Society will be singing Broadway hits. Enjoy the songs, tap your toes, dance to sing along, and enjoy a bit of dessert after the show. Please RSVP by calling 508-862-4750. Also on Wednesday the 25th, the General Caregiver Support Group will meet. This group meets on the 2nd and 4th Wednesday of every month at 9:30 a.m. and is part of the Family Caregiver Support Program of Elder Services of Cape Cod, who facilitates this group. Please call Beth Gilmore at 508-394-4630, extension 450, to sign up. On Thursday, October 26th at 10 a.m., the rehabilitation specialist from Royal Health Group will be at the Senior Center to discuss what to expect pre and post knee, hip, or shoulder surgery. Please also RSVP at 508-862-4750. Now let's take a look at this week's board, committee, and commission schedule. Joining us today. We'll be back tomorrow with another great show for you. On tomorrow's show, we'll talk with Finance Director Mark Milne, and we'll take a look at September's real estate numbers with Barnstable County Register of Deeds Jack Mead. For Barnstable Today, I'm Sarah Beal.